Corley is 4 years older than Zab Judah. The height exactly the same, and they're right on each other there, but the reach is in favor of Corley, and let's see how he uses that against the southpaw here.
Well, we'll find out. The strengths again of DeMarcus Corley. Confidence as you take a look at the rules, Dave. No standing 8 count. These are the unified rules. No 3 knockdown. No fight. It cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and only the referee can stop the fight. 2 question marks. Can he afford to showboat against Judah? Well, here comes Judah. Tell us about him.
He's a southpaw speedster. Seldom loses around, but he was beaten by Costazu. He has exceptional speed, good punching power, and he uses a lot of movement. He's an aggressive guy and a very fun fighter to watch, lefty with power. So he's going to bring a lot of excitement to the table. He has good conditioning, always maintains that. Question mark on him is how much did that Costazu loss take out of him? That was a surprise to him. It's always emotional when a guy loses for the first time. How did guys bounce back? That is his assignment. So each guy is a good question mark that has to be answered tonight.
Well, he has that look of confidence, the cocky look on his face. He's a wonderful kid. His dad, Zab Judah, works with him. Stacy McKinley, a lot of the good guys around him. He's a terrific fella. He won his title back in February of 2000, defeating Jan Bergman. We did that fight up in Uncasville, Connecticut, when he won the IBF Junior Welterweight Championship. And then he defended it against a very tough Teron Millette. Those are 2 real quality starts, and he had the TKO victory over Hector Quiroz, which I consider a quality win as well. And then the disappointment a year or so later against Constantine Zhu. Now on the other side, I think that Corley might have more quality opponents. We'll talk about that when Corley begins to make his way in, but certainly quality victories over Teron Millette, Quiroz, and Jan Bergman, who another European guy coming in to fight the world title. I wouldn't have him in the quality, certainly, of DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley tonight. By the way, Zab Judah, betting-wise, since we're in Las Vegas, is a prohibitive favorite.
Don't you love that a guy comes in off of a loss 2 times back, and that's why Corley, as we'll see with Mayorga, represents value to people out here.
Well, just so people understand, the betting line is influenced by the bookmakers out here who are pros to the nth degree. They know everything about everybody, and the betting line is influenced to encourage betting. So Zab Judah, the more well-known fighter, if you want to encourage him, they know people are going to put a lot more money on him because he's well-known, so you make him the favorite and try to get action on DeMarcus Corley to even it up. Look at this outfit on DeMarcus Corley. Now, here's we talked about a bit of the showboating, wearing the turquoise, yellow and kind of pink trim. What's this, the Egyptian motif?
Walk like an Egyptian,
right? That's it. He's walking like an Egyptian. If he holds his hands up and does that actual walk like an Egyptian. The crowd just getting a look at him for the first time. A lot of anticipation in the crowd. Corley, very impressive victories over Julio in Washington, D.C. back in '99. Then he had a nice win over Harold Bennett in 2000. He fought 4 times in 2000, all knockout wins. He had an impressive first-round TKO victory in Las Vegas over Felix Flores in 01. In 02, he retained his WBO junior welterweight title by going the distance, which is important to know that he can go the distance against Julio. Then in what I would consider a really great performance in Washington, defeating Randall Bailey in 12 rounds. I think that Corley has more impressive victories than does Zab Judah.
And he may sneak up on Zab that way. We'll see.
Do we have to question the chin of Judah now that his arms touched on it? Because nobody before Constantine Zhu was able to touch up that chin, and we never noticed it before. And honestly, we haven't seen him against it other than Zhu against an opponent like Vivian Harris.
Yeah, but Constantine Zhu's a great fighter, and I tell you, to get nailed by him, he caught him just right. Yeah, always questioning a guy's chin, but Costazu is a quality guy to hit you on the chin.
All right, so that's the story. DeMarcus Corley has a good chin. Here's Jimmy Lennon.
Gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Orleans Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we have a big night of action in store for you, and it's all brought to you by Don King Productions in association with the Orleans Hotel and Casino, HBO Sports, and CM Exchange. This bout coming away is also brought to you by Main Events, and is sanctioned by the WBO President Francisco Valcárcel, Supervisor Jessent Bryan, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Introducing to you at this time are three judges. Scoring the bout from ringside from Las Vegas, Nevada, Dwayne Ford. Also from Las Vegas, Chuck Jompa. And from West Palm Beach, Florida, Michael Pernick. And our third man of the ring, the referee in charge, working in this his 158th world title bout, fair but firm, Joe Cortez. Fight fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing you first, the challenger. On my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black, red, and gray trunks, fighting out of and representing his home of Brooklyn, New York. He weighed in at the limit of 140 pounds even. His record stands at 28 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest, with 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former IBF Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, introducing Zab Super Judah. And his opponent across the ring is the defending world champion on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing turquoise, yellow, and pink trunks, hailing from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. He weighed in at 139.5 pounds. His record stands at 28 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, with 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is making the third defense of his title. Here is the WBO Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, introducing DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Cortez, our referee in charge, now to give instructions, 12 rounds of action scheduled.
All right, we wait for the fighters to get over to Joe Cortez. We'll listen to his instructions. With some outfit on Corley coming in. Here we go.
We went over rules in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. I want good sportsmanlike eye contact. Understood? Here? Understand here? Okay. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch him up.
He's fair, but he's firm, working his 158th world title fight, Dave. Joe Cortez.
It's about 500 less than you?
Yeah. This is actually 728 for me. In reality, it is. Tonight, 727, 28, and 29 world title fights. And you know what? It's just like the first one. I love this. This should be exciting. Let's see what happens here. Zab Judah, interesting guy. A very colorful guy. Let's see what he can do with the DeMarcus Corley. If things look strange, it's because it's an unusual situation when you get two southpaws facing each other. So if it looks a little bit strange, we'll pick that up in a minute. They're both jabbing with their right hands. They respect the right hands.
So the traditional book on fighting the lefty goes away. The right hand lead is gone. The double left hook is gone. So the edge you have in being a lefty now, because fighters hate to go against lefties, is negated for both guys.
Yeah, and the other thing is that you won't have here is the front foot getting tied up and tripping over it, although they use the front foot to get positioning all right. DeMarcus Corley to the left of your screen in the turquoise, and with the flashy kind of orangey they look on your screen, they're really red and white with black, is Zab Judah. So Zab Judah with the long trunks and with the strange trunks, I'll call them, is DeMarcus Corley. Corley trying to get to the body of Zab Judah. Both of these guys have considerable power against lesser opponents. Let's see how they do against each other. Corley coming up to 12 rounds in his last two fights. He went 12 rounds with a big banger and outboxed Randall Bailey, and went 12 rounds with a good boxer in Julio, where Omar Weiss took Zab Judah 10 rounds. Zab won that fight, but Omar not in the class of either Bailey or Julio. So coming in, you'd have to say that perhaps Corley has an edge, but again, Zab is the prohibitive favorite here, and not only in the betting public, but by the fans in attendance here.
And they're more familiar with his pedigree and In fact, he had a title before this, and in fact, he was from New York. He had a lot of press.
DeMarcus Corley hails from our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., handled by Kirk Caswell. And you see him trying to get through. So far, Zab hasn't done much at all, though, Dave. I'm surprised he hasn't opened it up a bit here.
Well, he's not used to fighting a whole bunch of lefties as a pro, and he's waiting to see what Corley has, and he got the measure of Corley and landed a good left hand coming in because he got Corley to smile, and he just missed a big bomb earlier in the round on Corley.
Zab has extremely fast hands. Zab Judah to the left of your screen. DeMarcus chop Corley to the right of your screen. He misses the looping left hand, misses the left hand again. Zab has quick movements and it can cause a guy to miss, but so far Corley hasn't been able to catch up with him. A little short kind of uppercut sort of thing taken on the elbow by Zab. Neither guy has been really touched up at all here in the first round with about 23 seconds to go. Now opening up a bit as I say that is Corley. He tries to work downstairs. Zab comes forward wide-eyed, his chin hanging down a bit. Nice uppercut inside by DeMarcus Corley. Zab misses, stepping to the left again. Nothing there at all. There's another very close first round to open up another fight. And I think that Corley actually did more than Zab. I thought he dictated more in the round. You agree or not?
I might lean with Zab on that one.
All right, so you and I are split on that one. So, you know, all we can do is call that 10-10 if we're
Jab, he's trying to counter with his left hand, right? So throw a little short hook with that, okay? Relax a little more, but I want you to relax with good pace. You hear me? Always touch him. Touch him to the body, touch him to the shoulders. Break his rhythm, all right? Take a deep breath.
Bernard Roach, Robert Fortune, Jacob Duran. Over in Zab's corner, Yoel Judah, his dad.
Okay.
James Judah, Joseph Gaston.
He gonna reach. Oh, okay, look, yeah, get it. He gonna reach. Yo, finish up on one, he gonna go.
Corley, a grazing left hand, almost scored with a real power shot. Then he was smart. He tied Zab Judah up to prevent a counter.
Remember, folks, for the southpaw, the left is the big shot, too. That's what they trying to do, the southpaw, land the big left hand. This is round 2, scheduled for 12. Bob Sheridan, Dave Bontempo. We're at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the World, 140-pound division. DeMarcus Corley to the right of your screen with the fancy trunks and turquoise. And with his back to you now is Zab Judah. The reigning champ is DeMarcus Corley, the favorite and former champ. Super Judah, he calls himself. Zab Super Judah. He's got that jab out there, but he's not landing it. He's making misses DeMarcus Corley. Corley trying to get through with a shot of his own. They want to fight on the outside but a little bit here and try to open up the boxing a little bit more. I'll tell you this, Corley is a better boxer when he's moving side to side. Right now he's right in front of Judah, and Judah's very, very quick in his feet, so he's hard to get when you fight him on the outside.
Judah would like to move laterally a little bit more here and pop some shots home. He's faked. He's come close to really unleashing the combination, but he's been holding back, waiting a little bit too long. He would like to open it up, because if he does, then he walks into stuff like this.
Well, DeMarcus landed a halfway decent right hand in there, but that's not the powerful shot. Now they both make gestures towards each other, and this is the type of thing that you'll see with Zab Judah all the time. The funny thing is, when you know Zab in person like we do, Dave, he's a great kid. And when I see him in the ring sometimes, I just pop him in the head. He does things that don't ingratiate him with the public. Yet the public loves him. He does those hot dogging things that I think sometimes in sports people have seen enough of the hot dog routine. And in boxing, it's a mind game too, so they do it to each other.
And boxing is one sport where your showboating can be literally penalized, because the judges often will go against you in a close round if they think you've been the hot dog.
Yeah, that's very true. In the close round, you can lose it if you really are outrageous. But it has been nothing to that extent at all. But Zab has a tendency to do that. And mind you, Corley will do it right back to him. Corley having a better second round here now as he connects with a nice left hand inside of Zab. Zab tries to hold him, and you hear Joe Cortez said, hey, don't hold. Oh, wow, how about that right uppercut that just whistled past the nose of Corley, and Corley came back with a right hand. That uppercut just missed Corley. If he had hit him with that, he'd have taken his head off. Loads up the shot, but it's Corley who lands the shot with 37 seconds to go in the second round. Corley has a man measured right now. Zab staying in the ropes, and this is not where he wants to be. He should slide down, grab the guy, or throw the uppercut and spin out of there, Dave.
This has been an exceptionally effective round for Corley. on the inside. He's been able to get close, land his power shots, and smother any big shot that Zab Judah has coming for him.
Up at his toes again is DeMarcus Corley, who has Zab with his back to the ropes. And again, I disagree with Zab just sitting there, closing seconds now of this, the second round of the fight. This has been a good round for DeMarcus Corley, no matter how the first round was scored. I think Corley definitely got this round. He caught him with a nice shot inside there, too, just before the bell.
Tactically, an excellent round on the inside for Corley. Round by round.
So with that, I would have Corley slightly out in front in the fight, and you'd have the fight dead even right now. So that'll give the fans an idea that David and I, who do a lot of fights together, see it slightly differently here.
Don't reach all the way back. Shorten. Use your abs. Remember we've been working? Turn your abs so you don't have to work so hard. All right? Keep the double jab going. Working the double jab good. Keep this with you. All right? All right? And then every now and then you got to do this. Instead of power, change your hand speed up. And don't overshoot yourself. Change your hand speed up and give me about a 1-2, 1-2. Short. Watch. Right on your shoulders, okay? Okay?
Bernard Roach and Robert Fortune, and that they seem to know exactly what they want this guy to do.
Yeah, they gave him some good advice in the corner. Let's see if he's able to follow that up.
This is round 3 from the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Bob Sheridan with Dave Bontempo. You're watching HBO International, and we're glad that you can be with us wherever you're watching around the world, from the Pacific Rim to Europe to Asia, across Africa, and in many cable outlets in the United States of America. Zab Judah trying to pick up the pace now here in the third round. Zab again with his back to you, now sliding to the right of your screen. That's DeMarcus Corley with the fancy trunks with his back to you now in the turquoise-colored trunks. Both guys testing downstairs, trying to see what they can do downstairs, then they work their way back up. Again, they're both southpaws, so they jab with the right hand. So it might look a little strange, and it is a little strange to see two southpaws, but you don't see it that often. You see it occasionally. Both guys have rippled abdominal muscles. They're both in tremendous physical condition. They came in here as consummate professionals. Zab really, although he's favored, wants to turn his career around so bad, and this is a key fight for him to be able to do that and get a title back.
Yeah, and you talk about the matchups. Lefty-lefty is one of the rarest matchups you'll see, and so you're seeing something special in terms of what these guys have to do here and the adjustments they have to make. And this is a lefty-lefty matchup, though, that has the potential for some excitement. There are some that don't carry that, but this is one involving punches.
Well, Zab got a power shot through there. Remember, for the southpaw, the power hand is the left hand, and he cracked one off the right side of the cheek of Corley. DeMarcus chop Corley right in front of him now. Zab showing a little bit more movement in this round. Remember in the last round where he had his back to the ropes all the time? Now he's out in the center of the ring. He's circling around, and he's a better boxer when he does that and gives himself some room. He just let Corley bear down on him throughout the course of the last round, and in this round Zab is boxing much better. In fact, I think he's outboxing DeMarcus Corley to this point with about a minute to go in the third round.
Corley's coming in and trying to jab and fire some hooks, and meanwhile Judah is able to make a miss, move laterally, and then try to set up some type of an attack. And this is exactly the way that Zab Judah would like to box in this fight, side to side, and keep some kind of a rhythm.
Well, he's got a nice rhythm right now because he's outboxing Corley in a game that Corley's an excellent boxer. You know, a guy that could outbox Randall Bailey for 12 rounds. You got to say something about that. And of course, the real boxer between the two would be Julio. He got cracked with a light left hand that time from the fist of Corley, who was able to catch up with Zab a little bit. But I don't believe, unless he lands something heavier, that he can get this round, because Zab has certainly been the ring general in round number 3. We're inside of about 12 seconds to go now in the third round of this fight. Jab cracks him and spins ahead. Big left hand got him, and Corley goes down. He was hurt, and is he going to rule it a knockdown? Both guys went down. Now he is ruling it a knockdown because he got hit. They wrestled down. Zab fell down, and he got back up. But that's scored as a knockdown. That's the way he's scoring it.
That's a tough call.
It is a tough call, but we'll get a good look at it. And, Dave, I think when you see the replay, you'll agree that he got clipped with a good shot and caused him to go down.
He got clipped. Question is, was he thrown down or taken down at his natural momentum? And that's the judgment call that has to be made.
And that's the decision that Joe Cortez and Frank Belmont, our director, has this for us, and we'll be able to show it to you momentarily, and you describe it, Dave.
Put your hands together. Put them together. You hear me?
Remember, he gets hit,
Keep your
and
left
then there's a
hand up.
tie-up, and then he goes down.
All right.
So it's one of those forward motion momentum
Fake the
type
left.
calls.
Bring the hook this time. Fake it. You look at my left hand now. Fake it. Hey, get it. Come right the hook. Fake it. Fake it. 1, 2, 3. Roll. Back, right back.
The one thing that won't be disputed is that Zab Judah nails Corley here. The jab, nails him there.
Okay, now let's see what
He's
happens.
back. Now he hits him again, and you know, I think he pulls. I don't think it's a knockdown.
No, Dave, watch this. You see him, he's out on his feet, he grabs onto him, and he gives. Watch this. He's out on his feet. Watch. See, he's out on his feet. That's a knockdown. Yeah,
there.
you see him hang on? Yep. He was out on his feet, and he hung on for dear life, and Zab was smart. He walked forward.
Let's see if he follows it up here.
Hey, nice job by Joe Cortez to pick that up because he made the right call. Boy, the replay, I'm glad we had it for that because I was in agreement with you before. It was questionable. But Joe made the decision. He made the right decision. So that's the experience of 158 world title fights right there.
When a guy flings a guy off, that's the judgment call a referee must make. And he did.
But you could see that when he got hit, he was out on his feet and draped over Judah. And Judah was smart enough, instead of pulling back and pulling him over, to just go forward with the momentum. And so he made, I believe he made absolutely the right call. Anyway, we're in the 4th round, and can Judah take advantage of the crushing blow that surprised DeMarcus Corley in the 3rd round? So it officially is a knockdown. Therefore, the last round is scored 10-8 in favor of Judah, and now I have, along with you, Judah in front of the fight.
And a big point for him is just the message he sent with that shot. The instant momentum changer where he can score with the power right away and put this guy back on his heels.
You also see a cockiness back on the face of Zab Judah that was very predominant in every fight except the Constantine Tszyu fight until about 10 seconds after the Tszyu fight was over, and he didn't even realize he had lost the fight. And that's why he went after referee Jay Nady. He couldn't believe the fight was over. You know, but he's got that cockiness back in his eyes, and you watch him do a lot of things now. He'll drop the hands, he'll bounce around, he'll swagger the head, sneaky left-hand shot inside. Corley is not shaken by any of this, but Zab is 100% confident now after knocking down DeMarcus Corley in the 3rd round.
He's landing exquisite shots here with the left hand and the right hand as well with the short shots. And Zab Judah, now when he picks his shots, they're power shots instead of jabs.
And you see him kind of feigning, twisting the shoulders back and forth. Just supreme confidence, the hand down. And he has tremendous hand speed, too. Look at that. But this is a dangerous way for him to fight because he should have learned from Constantine Tszyu that he can be hurt by one shot. And DeMarcus Corley possesses one-punch knockout power in spite of the fact he's gone 12 rounds his last 2 times out. When he caught Felix Flores 3 fights ago, it was a first-round knockout with a very powerful shot. So this guy has first, 5, and 3rd, and 5th round knockouts right preceding that first round knockout of Felix Flores. So Zab had better not get too cocky too early here. Although sorry, Dave, he is doing a nice job boxing.
That's a tightrope he has to walk because, you know, the upsurge in power is what's brought him to this point of the fight. It's what's helped him step up a level and get into a commanding position. And the fact that he might walk into one is something that he has to keep in the back of his mind, but yet not affect his offense.
Well, it's not affecting him at all now because he's boxing superbly. He's not landing a lot, but he's certainly landed enough to win this round. And as I say that, the closing seconds of the round, DeMarcus comes forward, but it's a little, not quite enough and a little too late in the 4th round. Judah's ahead in this fight now by a couple of points at least.
Well, he's taken over the fight.
Yeah, I mean, a knockdown can really change the course of a fight instantaneously, and Zab did a terrific job, you know, in turning the thing around.
You know, when Corley came out in the last round, he had no lingering effects from the knockdown. The minute rest had helped him, but Judah used the momentum of the knockdown
Stay low.
to just take it to him.
Look, when I'm going here, all you got to do is roll. Come on, bang! You know what I'm saying? He ain't going to see the roll. That's why I pump 3, 4 jabs, then let it go, then hook, then roll. All right? Keep careful with that jab.
His dad's a very enthusiastic guy, isn't he, David?
Yeah, and he's making a good point in the corner about how to put those shots together.
He has several sons, and all of them have names of men of the Bible, like Zab and his own name, Yoel. All right, here we go to the 5th round on the scheduled 12-round affair. DeMarcus Corley was knocked down in a kind of a strange sort of way in the 3rd round, but a replay clearly showed us. Now, I didn't pick up what Joe was warning him about there. Did he say, keep your hands up, or what was he saying?
Well, first they were posing in a bizarre manner, and then he goes, hey, get in there and just start to fight.
This is the 6th round on the scheduled 12-round affair. DeMarcus Corley to the left of your screen. That's Zab Judah, and the fancy sort of, they are red and white, but they look orange and white on your screen, sort of. Look at this. This is him at superb with the foot speed, the cockiness, and all. Now, the only thing that Corley can do here, what I would do if I'm fighting a guy like this is just grab him, throw him down to the ring, and make it a street brawl for a round.
Yeah, make it ugly for a while. Tie him up. That's a good thing to do right now. Try to take him out of the flow, because when Zab Judah gets like this, he has reached a supreme level of confidence, and he does a lot of good things off of that.
But this is kind of the way street guys, when it's the street attitude, when you're playing in a pickup basketball game in Brooklyn, you do that swaggering, you do this sort of stuff, and this is kind of the street attitude that Zab has, and he uses it perfectly. I'm not criticizing him for it because it works for him. Zab is doing a superb job right now of outboxing this guy and using all his skills to his advantage, and in a small manner intimidating Corley with these movements. And if Corley's going to stop this, he's going to do something equally brash. He's got to grab him, throw him into the corner, throw him down, hit him with a low blow, do something. This is a war.
And try to work that body when he gets inside and really try to take some of the movement away from Zab Judah. But that being said, he's been knocked down already by Judah. He's felt some power, so in one sense, he doesn't want to gamble and come in there too quickly. So he's looking at a double-edged sword.
He is, David, and you bring on a good point, but, these are fighters. This isn't baseball. This isn't football. It's not world-class horse riding. This is down and dirty, the most pure form of sport, and he just got clipped with a good right hand, a digging body shot, and DeMarcus sitting back in the ropes. Bad spot to be. Hang on a move. He's getting pummeled now by Zab Judah, and Zab just getting more and more confidence. But you see, he's not doing anything street to the guy to offset it. He's not hanging on. He's not flinging him around. He's not fighting with a sense of urgency or any sort of, like, showing Zab, hey, I can get mad at you, guy.
He's got to do something on the inside, rough him up, but that's not happening for him. He started on the inside once, and now he's back on the outside, and he got clipped from here a moment ago.
And that just feeds into the psyche of Zab Judah. You see a whole different appearance in his eyes and in his face. And, folks, that's why we have the advantage, because we can see the expression so close here where we're seated. You can't even see him on your monitor or your television set, but when you look into the eyes and you're up there, you know what this guy's thinking. And he's thinking, I'm in charge.
It's my show now.
Needless to say, that's a Zab Judah round.
Baby. Listen, man, you have fun? Have fun? Good, have fun, boy, have fun. Look good, don't relax.
We take a look into the training room, because coming up next is a tremendous fight between Ricardo Mayorga and Vernon Forrest. Forrest, a wonderful, wonderful human being. Some of them say he's the classiest fighter in the boxing world today.
Take a look at Judah on the outside that comes in with a leaping power shot behind that and able to hurt Corley with that. Takes us back with the right hook and smartly digs the body. So he shows him the whole package, and he's outside controlling everything.
Well, one of the big questions that's been answered through 5 is that Zab Judah has been able to gobble up anything that Corley could throw. A lot of people thought that Corley might nail him early, that based on the Costa Zoo fight, there was a question of Zab Judah's chin, and you have to question that when a guy gets knocked down and stopped, but it hasn't been apparent tonight at all. Supreme confidence now since the knockdown back in the 3rd round from Zab Judah, and you heard him in the corner kind of singing and saying, hey, this is his stage.
They weren't even at the point of instructing him at that point. It was a ceremony in the corner between rounds, and that's an indication that he is totally on top of his game at this point.
Swinging the right hand in front of him. But again, if Corley doesn't do something straight and do it soon, he's going to lose this fight. because Zab is just pounding out points. He's touching him up with the right hand. He'll dig to the body next. He'll come back upstairs. He'll try a wild left-hand power shot. He's doing anything he wants right now, and Corley is just not doing anything street enough to change this guy's attitude. You want to get a cocky look off a guy's face, smack him right in the mouth. You know, that's what this is about. This is professional boxing.
Such is the power of intimidation, and I believe that Zab Judah has gotten into the head of Corley in that way by being able to exist on the outside, be very flamboyant, get the knockdown, hit him with the power shots, fake with the shoulders, and do all the street moves. And I totally agree that if Corley can't get inside and smother him, take something away, that it's going to be a difficult night for him at best.
Well, in talking to DeMarcus, he said to beat Zab Judah, I've got to try to be more aggressive. But he hasn't been more aggressive. His Zab, like a sparring session right now, he's just enjoying himself. You know, very few fighters over the course of the past 3, 4, 5 decades have really enjoyed their time in the ring. Muhammad Ali is one, Julio Cesar Chavez. Certainly, you know, you think in terms of guys that really love their time in the ring. The great Mexican fighters of all sorts, and the Puerto Rican fighters over the years. But Zab Judah is one of those guys that enjoys his time in the ring.
He's got that flair for performance. Now,
and that's part of it. I mean, that's what makes you saleable. That's why he's making the big bucks for this fight. And that's why this place looks like it's pretty darn near sold out, at least 90% sold out here in Las Vegas. And this is a nice, beautiful arena. Now Corley gets through and touches him up, so Judah's got to stay serious, too.
And what separates the guys who sell from those who don't are the guys who sell can win with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Get you talking about something other than just the win after the fight.
Well, Corley landed a shot inside, but Zab, doing the street stuff now, spins him, holds his hands out so the referee doesn't get annoyed with him. And the last thing he wants to do is get any shoving match with the referee again. He learned the lesson the hard way with a severe fine and a penalty of 6 months of his life out of the sport that he loves so much. But right now, he's enjoying himself because he just won another round. He can put the 6th round in the bank for Zab Judah. Now we're going to go to the locker room of Ricardo Mayorga as he gets ready with Hector Perez. Hector's done a brilliant job in training Mayorga. And he's a street guy, if ever there was one.
And he's a great story this year. Really is. Parlaying what's happened for him in the last year. He's riding high. He's done more in his last 3 fights than in everything combined up to that point. That's what it's all about, making that run.
You know, down in his native Nicaragua, he donated several $100,000 for electricity from the town that he's from. And you know why he gave his money away? He said, I want to give all my money away because I want to be poor when I come to the ring with Vernon Forrest, so I'll still be hungry, so I can knock him out. He predicts a second-round knockout, you know. This guy is some kind of colorful. Smokes, he drinks, he...
You find out where he's going with his money after this fight.
No, we're going to go with him, though, Dave. Here we go. The Colonel Bob Sheridan here with Dave Bontempo. You're watching HBO International around the world. We're certainly glad that you can be with us. As Zab Judah working from the left part of your screen and now working on DeMarcus Chop Corley. Corley not having a good night, but he's not doing anything to change things in his favor whatsoever. We're in round 7 in his scheduled 12-round, 140-pound world championship fight. And Corley has just let Judah take the play away from him. Judah has done a sensational job since round 3 of really taking it away and showboating and showing up DeMarcus Corley.
And Judah's landed 31% of his shots through the up to this point, compared to 13% for Corley. So not only is it almost 2.5 times the percentage of punches landed, but to keep Corley at such an anemic connect percentage says something about Judah's defense, which is something that hasn't even come up yet. He's done so much on the offense. He's done a great job defensively, too.
Yeah, he certainly has. I didn't realize those percentages tell a lot of story there. I like the guys, Bobby Kenobi and the guys with Punchstat that provide that information for us because there's a condition where knowing that really makes a difference. I mean, I didn't realize defensively that he was doing so well, and he really is.
Sure, I mean, the guy is such a strong offensive fighter. That's the first thing that gets overlooked, is that fact he's been able to turn his head and avoid a lot of shots.
I mean, he's just flat out boxing him now. DeMarcus, again, I go back to the same thing. He's going to turn this into a street fall and get down and dirty with Zab Judah. Otherwise, Zab is just going to keep that cocky look in his face, bounce around, do just what he's doing now, and just out of boxing.
And look what happened when he tried to do exactly that at the end of the last round. Judah was able to spin him and get away and basically take that toy away from DeMarcus Corley. And what's happening now is that Judah is boxing up to his level.
Yeah, he certainly is. This is the 7th round with a minute to go. HBO International, and this is a dandy. Two really good fighters, two tremendous professionals, and things aren't going the champion's way. Remember, DeMarcus Corley is the world champion here. Zab Judah, the former IBF champion of the world, wants to win that WBO title because after Costa fights Shumbay Mitchell, should he be successful, he wants a shot at the winner of that fight. If Costa defends his title, he wants, of course, to fight him, and that'll be a huge payday. This is a fight that'll have to come back to Las Vegas.
Yeah, this is a fight for Zab Judah, puts him right back where he was before if everything continues to go his way in this fight, because it would be, at this point, a definitive victory for him if he can continue along this road.
Well, nothing is going Corley's way in the closing seconds of the 7th round, and it's his fault because the other guy is totally dictating the flow of this fight. Now DeMarcus finally opens up, and you see he's making mistakes too, again, allowing himself to get his back turned, and Zab using the street sense that he has to throw him into the ropes.
Got us room. Yo, don't let him get in trouble. All right, you got him hurt. Every time you hit this motherfucker, you hurt him. Every time you hit him. But yo, he following what you do. That's what he's doing. He's in there surviving there. He's surviving. What he doing for him? All right, he's surviving, baby. No, you get in the midst with him. Dig it. Dig him inside. Come up the middle. All right?
He hears his dad. Does he know what he's saying? He's exhausted.
Keep your head in his face.
Got to make sure he doesn't get hit by his dad.
Yeah. Joe looks like he can still bang. Huh? He's going to keep all his kids and his family in line, so. All right, here we go. This is round number 8. I'm the Colonel Bob Sheridan. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, working with me, Dave Von Tempo. I'm glad that you can be with us wherever you're watching. Here we go, round number 8 from the Orleans Hotel in that beautiful new arena. They've done some job here, and we congratulate the Gons, the whole family, for what they've done not only in Las Vegas, but especially in this beautiful arena. It's fantastic. There's going to be a lot more boxing action in this place. This is perfect for the, not the heavyweight championship fights, but it's perfect for fights of this nature. 10,000, 12,000 people jammed in here, and everybody with a clear sight for the ring. It's just perfect. This is round number 8. Zab Judah has just outboxed DeMarcus Corley throughout the course of this fight. Corley went down in the 3rd round, and what was questionable at the time, but clearly proper when we saw the replay. And now DeMarcus trying to do something here. In a fight we expected to be a world beater, and it hasn't turned out to be a world beater in any sense of the imagination, but you get two guys with a lot of ability, and sometimes that does happen too, Dave.
Well, you had Zab Judah coming out, the knockdown, and there were some fireworks right after that, but then he settled, and he's been moving side to side, he's been piling up points, and Corley hasn't known how to take that away, and because Corley doesn't know how to gamble successfully in here, now you've got two guys on the outside jabbing.
Well, you know, we're reaching the midway point in the 8th round, and there's no sense of urgency in Corley. So, you know, the corner, Bernard Roach and Robert Fortune, they're going to tell this guy, hey, you better open up, guy. You're going to lose this title. This doesn't look like a guy that really wants his title back, does it?
No, he came out a little bit in the middle rounds, but he needs to put 3 minutes together. Hasn't come close to doing that since the 3rd round. That Judah has him confused. When he lunges at him, he gets hit with the counter. When he stays outside, he gets hit with the jab. Anything he's been able to try, Judah's had an answer.
Judah just outboxed him. That time you see that he gets aggressive, but Zab able to be very quick on his feet and very quick coming straight back. You know, they say the way to beat Zab Judah is that Zab has the tendency when he goes back, he goes straight back, that he drops his hands, but you got to be very quick to get on him because he's so quick. I mean, it's a good philosophy. Zab Judah pulls straight back and drops his hands, then nail him. But try to get to him as if he kettle of fish.
A guy that moves back but is as quick as Judah is may not move back in the way that you can jump right on him.
Well, that's the problem, and they talked about that in the training sessions with DeMarcus Corley, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's true what you say. Zab does do that. I mean, we're talking about very minutia here of mistakes that Zab makes, if that in all is a mistake, because he's so quick he can get away with things like that. Zab's got tremendous hand speed, and his foot speed, he doesn't get the credit for it. but everything is working in his favor right now. And his hand speed is clear, it's evident, his foot movement is good. He just clipped him with a power shot on the inside, then protects himself. Just a nice, easy, nice working round for Zab Judah.
Corley needs a 5-foot ring. It's about 4 times too big for him.
Well, the bell ends the 8th round, and that one you can put in the bank again for Judah. Well, the crowd a little uneasy here, but they shouldn't be uneasy because it's a tremendous performance by Judah. He's done a great job. I mean, he had him down in the 3rd round. The thing was fairly close after 2. In fact, I gave Corley the 2nd round. Dave gave Judah the 1st round, and I gave it to Corley. But after that, from the 3rd round on, from the time of the knockdown, it's been clearly Zab Judah winning every single round. 10-9, 10-9 in the 4th, 10-9 in the 5th, 10-9 in the 6th, 10-9 in the 7th, and 10-9 in the 8th.
Look, you got this kid. You got this kid.
Yo, you got to go. 4 rounds, baby.
You look in the eyes of Zab Judah. He doesn't seem to be huffing and puffing so much as a guy that's worked his hard through 8 full rounds, and here we go with round number 9. Let's see if DeMarcus shows any sign of wanting to pick up the pace here. You know, he's been 12 rounds his last 2 fights, and we know he can go 12. And we know he can go 12 against big bangers like Randall Bailey. Although Zab was successful in just one occasion in dropping him, and he was hurt when he went down. But nonetheless, he just hasn't done anything since that day.
And can Corley get the hardest thing in boxing, which is to come from behind knockout? When you know that you have to score that knockout, you get that sense that you're down on the scorecard significantly, and your opponent knows it. That's the hardest thing in boxing to do.
Well, I'll tell you, somebody from his corner better express some urgency right now, because I have it 79-73 in the 9th round, and now he's trying to pick up the pace a little bit, but he's got to do a whole lot more in a hurry if he's going to catch up with Zab Judah right now, because Zab just doing a nice job boxing, touches him upstairs with the right hand, has that jab in the face, working off the right hand all the time. DeMarcus comes back, but he doesn't step up into the jab. He's reaching with the jab. He stands right in front of him. Now he misses with the left hand. Zab bounces back to his right, stands flat-footed in front of him, ducks underneath. 2 wild left hands, 3 wild left hands, all missed by the nice front movement of Zab Judah. 3 in a row, and that shows you the nice defensive tactics and why that statistic, Dave, that you pointed out a couple of rounds ago is so significant.
Yeah, he's going right over the top of Zab Judah when he's trying to get into a power game, and it just enables Judah to stay outside and pop with the jab and keep the flow of the fight exactly the way he wants. And you'll see Corley probably becoming more desperate as this fight grows, and you'll see more attempts like that.
Well, there's more desperation right now than at any time in the last 3 or 4 rounds anyway. I mean, Corley has opened up more in this round, but he's missing so many. He's got to land one big shot to try and turn this thing around. And it would almost take a knockdown to get him back into the fight at all.
Well, you took a good look at what just happened about the speed of Judah. There was 2 jabs by Corley on the left hand, the power shot. He set up the power shot, but when he threw it, the head had moved just subtly from Zab Judah. Against another opponent, that 3-punch combination would have landed, but it goes over the top of Zab Judah. He was doing everything right, but against the wrong guy.
And those are the types of things that a natural-born athlete and a natural fighter can do that other guys can't do. And that's the difference between being in the top 2 or 3 in any division and being a world champ, and then being just the also-ran from, let's say, 5 down to the next 10 that are all world-class fighters, not in that special league. Remember, champion is like a racehorse. They're kind of a freak of nature. They can do little things that other guys can't do. They possess a better heart than other guys. And it only has to be just a slight little thing. That's why when guys get old, they don't realize it's time to quit, because, you know, it's very slightly the difference between being a great guy and having great timing and not having it. And that's the difference.
Zab Judah could win a title on cruise control.
Well, he's on cruise control right now, in spite of the fact that Corley, I mean, would you give Corley that round? I mean, he was more aggressive, but
I wouldn't give it to him, because
neither would I.
He came at Zab Judah, but Judah was able to move him side to side. It was more effective.
Well, it was aggressiveness, but as you mentioned, it's going on effective aggressiveness, and that's not enough. He's got to land some shots. And again, I go back to, if I'm in there, if I'm fighting this guy now, I'm going to grab him, I was going to say I'm going to bite him, but I better not say that, because when I'm going to do something dirty, you know, and I'm not necessarily a dirty fighter or an advocate of fighting dirty at all, but you got to do something. It's a prize fight, and if he doesn't do that, Zab is going to be in cruise control and just beat him with no more difficulty at all.
Should have done that 5 rounds ago, really.
Yeah, exactly. But there's more of an urgency now, Dave. I mean, he's got to do something now because Zab is in cruise control.
Hey, a gorilla can't look a monkey now.
All right, here we go to the 10th round. Remember, this is a world title fight. It's scheduled for 12. Zab Judah with his back to you, now to the right of your screen, to the left of your screen. The world champion. How much longer will he hold that title? We don't know, because things are in favor of Zab Judah right now, and Zab just supremely confident and doing a great job outboxing the world champ of the WBO in the 140-pound division. Zab touched him up again with a quick shot.
Corley has to be fighting like he already lost the title and is trying to take it back.
Well, he should be fighting like a madman right now, like a man whose opponent just took a knife out and chased his mother down the street. That's how I'd be fighting this guy.
Meanwhile, he's backed up because Judah scores with the power shot from the outside.
It's Corley coming back, but he just touches him up with light left hands, and it's not effective at all to DeMarcus Corley. Frank Belmont, our director, had a nice one, and it's so good I got to pass it on to our viewers. He said, DeMarcus Corley should fight as if he had the desperation of a man dressed like him in his neighborhood in Washington, D.C., running through the neighborhood at midnight. And if he had that outfit on, he'd really be running with great desperation. And Frank, I like to use your words. Those are good, and you folks don't want to share that with you. That's pretty good. And that's how he should be fighting, by the way. No jokes at all here. And there's no desperation here. And because of that, Zab Judah just outboxing him again, just like it was back in 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Now, there was the right hook by Corley that is something he should have been using a lot the last 3 or 4 rounds. He gets it in one time and gives an indication of what could be there for him, but he just can't put it together.
Where the heck are the left-hand power shots by Corley? That man, Zab hasn't landed that many. He's done such a great job with his jab and his footwork and his quick hands. He hasn't had to really load up any power shots. The one power shot he landed cut Corley in the 3rd round, and it changed the fight immediately. It gave him a supreme and superb confidence that has just trickled down through the remainder of the fight. And is Corley trying to mount something? He wants it. He's got the desire, but he just can't seem to land it. And then again, we go back to the great defense of Zab. This is where it's really showing here.
Because if Zab Judah goes on and takes this, it will be with one of the lower punch percentage connected. His percentage connection is down to 29%, but he's winning this by basically winning a low-scoring fight.
Now DeMarcus misses a wild shot and gives kind of a cocky look on the face of Zab, and Zab comes right back and touches him up with 3 or 4 jabs. Remember, Zab was telling that, always touch him, make contact, and that's what Zab has done, and that's why he's outboxing this guy. Because there is a sense of urgency for Corley, but it's just not effective at all. That's another Zab Judah round. By the way, David, I haven't scored 99-92 in favor of Judah, and you would have one more point.
That's right.
You'd have it 100 to 91.
But still,
It's like,
it's
okay,
desperation time
I hit you.
for Corley.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And you hit me.
Hell with that. You got to get mean and got to be steady.
Well, they're finally telling him.
In you that you can do it. Matter of fact, your Uncle Tim is looking at this, and I'm quite sure he's dissatisfied. Come on, man, let's go. Let's go. Dig down.
Listen to me. You
Don't
want your
reach.
title?
Come on.
Chop, look at me.
Big minute, man.
Keep your hands up. Warfare, go look for the Albuquerque. You
Big minute, now go get it.
Together them combinations. Take this title, bro.
Take it, baby. Take it.
Come on, man. Come on, let's go. We down.
I'd like to see Zab Judah Sr. fight Teddy Atlas. Not Zab Judah. Yoel Judah. You know,
Battle of the corners.
I'd love to see Teddy and Judah Sr. do battle. Anyway, this is the 11th round. It will take a knockout if DeMarcus Corley is going to retain his title. He'll have to knock out Zab Judah to win this fight. I say that quite confidently, that Zab is that far out in front in the fight. He's just totally outboxed him. He had Corley down in the 3rd round. This is the 11th round of a scheduled 12-round affair that has all the appearance that it's going to go the distance, Dave.
Well, Corley's corner went right down the ladder. First they tried technique, then they tried some motivation, then they brought his family into it. Your uncle's watching it. He's quite dissatisfied with what he's seeing right now. They're trying to get him motivated that one more step. But you know what? You cannot take away a guy's speed. That is what Zab Judah has had as the intangible in this fight. Because whenever Corley has tried to mount something, the 2 or 3 inches he's missing by is testify to the speed of Zab Judah.
It's been foot speed, it's obvious hand speed, and the ability to slip punches, which is, reaction speed too, that he's able to just move that head and move that trunk and avoid the power shots when Corley has loaded up. Corley, the book on him and his style is a tight fighter with crisp, short punches, but it hasn't been that way tonight because Zab has been so quick at this moment that he hasn't been able to land the clean blow at all. And with the 141 to go, 140, 139 in the 11th round, Zab has it all going his way. Corley still no real sense of urgency as he's expressing by the way he's throwing his fist right now.
When's the last time we talked about combination with Corley?
Yeah.
It's been a long time, and that's something he's just not been able to get in. Zab Judah's defense has been a major reason for that. And look at Corley lunging in now because there's no way for him to just walk him down. The guy's too fast.
Well, and it goes back to what I said, that you got to get mad, you got to grab him, you got to do something to get him off, and DeMarcus isn't going to do that. He's not going to turn this into a street fight, and that's what you got to do with a guy that's a cocky street fighter from Brooklyn. You gotta go, what do they say, go postal? Yeah. You gotta do something outstanding and very definitive. When you're fighting a bully, you gotta be a bully yourself. It's the only way to do it. And while you might lose a point, you might win a war. But DeMarcus isn't doing that, and it's going to cost him the world title. Remember, both of these guys have got pretty tremendous punches, but DeMarcus has just not had the ability to land one flush in the jaw whatsoever tonight. And just the one time that it happened for Zab Judah, it was enough to change the whole course of the fight after that 3rd round knockdown.
Knockdown has changed the aggressiveness of Corley significantly.
And the attitude too, David, of Zab, because Zab has been superbly calm as well. Look at this. Corley tries to pick up the pace and Zab comes right back. Now we're in the last few seconds of the 11th round of the fight, and it's still a Zab Judah round all the way.
Imagine how exciting this fight could be if he was throwing a lot of punches on top of all the shaking and baking that he's doing.
Come on, man.
Well, I got it 101 for Corley, 109 for Zab, just totally outboxing him throughout the course of every round.
Listen, you keep your hands, all you gotta do is keep your hands back here. Keep the jab in his face. Keep touching him with that jab, baby.
Joel's a little worked up, isn't he, Dave?
Big round. Look, I want to play. Yeah. Let's go. Back him up. He got the inside. Big. Strong.
That looks like
personalities at the corner are an extension of the personalities of the fighters.
Absolutely. Corley looks like he's in a daze, and so does his corner.
What's that? We can do nothing else.
All right, here we go. This is the 12th and final round from New Orleans in Las Vegas, Nevada. At stake, the WBO Junior Welterweight 140-pound Championship of the world. It's been all DeMarcus Corley trying to out-hustle Zab Judah, but it hasn't worked at all for him. So in reality, it's been all Zab Judah winning every single round of this fight, just about anyway. We had one round where Corley had a pretty good second round in the fight, but other than that, it's been all Zab from 3 on. Just a tremendous effort by Zab Judah. Corley almost sleepwalking at times, even in this late stage of the fight where he has to know he's way behind. He's trying to pick up the pace here. Zab is cute, hangs on and holds for one of the few times during the course as he slides off to the left. Got those hands down, the cocky look in the face. Corley's still waiting, trying to do something, but nothing has been effective because Zab is just so cute and just so slick. Side-to-side movement now, walking off to his left. Zab touches him up with the right hand, touches him up again with that jab, has him off balance as Corley bounces around to the far side of the ring. Zab bounces the right hand off the forehead, downstairs, just holding him off. Kind of doing exactly what his dad was telling him to do.
Yeah, and as you look at this from both perspectives, Zab Judah, it's been a great fight to be on the outside, moving, and not having to gamble too much because the style is played into his hands. And for Corley, when he looks back on this, he may sense that after the knockdown, he did not fight as though he could believe he could win this fight.
Oh, nice big left hand inside that time by Zab Judah. And he feels like he may have hurt him as he digs one into the ribs. Now he's supremely confident again. Corley tries to do something, but again, as so many times throughout the course of the fight, Zab so quick in his feet, bounces straight back, and Corley can't get him. Now Corley walking around. No urgency still, David. He walks around like a stroll in the park. He's got to be on this guy like a cheap suit. I'll tell you, he's just not going to win the title tonight. He's not going to retain it, that's for sure.
Sometimes the guy gets in the middle of a fight and he's just happy to get to the end of it. No matter, even though he's not winning, they're happy enough to get to the end because nothing else has gone right, and that's what Judah's done to him.
Well, Judah has shown in his career now that he can go a full 12 rounds. He did it once against Junior Witter in a fight in Glasgow, Scotland, which wasn't one of his better performances, but he's having a great night tonight. Now Zab invites him in, and DeMarcus is really frustrated now with just about 30 seconds to go in this fight.
Now he goes righty.
Yeah, nothing's gonna work now.
He's tried everything.
He's back fighting as an orthodox fighter, fighting right-handed, jabbing with the left. But I think that's just fatigue now. You know, Zab has just kept up a pace, and he's got this fight. This wasn't, by the way, the world beater fight we thought it would be, and the reason for that is that Corley never had any stage really open up. A brilliant effort, I got to say, for Zab Judah. A terrific effort.
He did the paint job with a little bit of power mixed in, and did everything he wanted to in this fight.
And there's the bell that ends the fight. And again, not exactly the crowd pleaser that we expected, but a brilliant effort by Zab Judah, who has definitively won this fight. I got it 119 to 110, and I think you got it 120 to 109. So the important thing is that Zab Judah has won the WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the world, dethroning DeMarcus Chop Corley. So maybe the bookies do know what they're talking about here in Las Vegas.
They get a pretty good sense, and they put the odds out based on where they figure the sentiment of a fight will be. Now, Zab Judah has always had the hype and the attention out in front of him, but you get an idea tonight how easy he can make a fight for himself when he decides to, and this is the kind of fight he made easy for himself. He moved laterally, did whatever he wanted. Well, I'm taking his belt.
All right, we're waiting for the decision here. It's kind of academic. Zab Judah's going to get a unanimous decision unless I bet he get another business if he doesn't. Or the judges better get another business, or put it that way. We're going to have a brand new champ, but we've got to make it official, so we'll hang in here. What we say is the way we see it, and we're not afraid to say it the way we see it. To me, it should be definitely a unanimous decision. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr. He's all set, and we'll have the announcement for you momentarily, and we're going to have a brand new WBO Junior Welterweight Champion of the world. This should definitely be a unanimous decision, no question. And as soon as the American network, HBO, is ready, we will have it. All right, Jimmy Lennon is set. Wait till you hear this.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action here at the Orleans Arena, we go to the scorecards. We have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Dwayne Ford scores about 115 to 112 in favor of DeMarcus Chop Corley. Judge at ringside, Chuck Joppa scores about 115 to 112 in favor of Zab Super Judah. Judge at ringside, Michael Pernick sees about 115 to 112 in favor of the winner and new champion, Zab Super Judah.
Well, the right guy got it, David, but how about Dwayne Ford had DeMarcus Corley winning the fight based on what?
And he has it by 3 points, and he was down, too. So it's basically like saying he went up by 4 without the knockdown. You gotta be kidding me.
Wow. And not only that, the other judges had it a much closer fight than we saw. They had it only 3 points separating it. Hey, it doesn't make any difference because the right guy got the decision, and by a split decision, Zab Judah wins the WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the World.